Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to see what we can do with these tools. Hey, this is Tim with Indicode Woodworks. Let's see what we can make. A lot of new woodworkers, myself included, struggle with tools. That's the biggest thing we use, and we want the best, the latest, the greatest, and that's normal. But it discourages a lot of people from getting started. This right here is a Walmart special. This is pretty much exactly what I started with. And the only thing here that's not from Walmart is this Craig pocket hole jig. If I remember right, it's 25 bucks. You could get by without it, but I suggest it. So today, I'm gonna show you how to build an entryway table. Now, these entryway tables have been my best sellers by far here in my local market. So we're gonna build one today with exactly what I started with. Let's get to it. Not that it's not. Here, boy. 12 to 40. Okay, two of them. I'm gonna grab some 2x3s. 3 of them. Well, after digging through, they ain't got none that are nice. Alright, I had to get 2x6s because my loads doesn't have any 2x3s that are in any way, shape, or form in decent shape. So the concept's gonna stay the same. All the measurements, everything's gonna stay the same. I'm just gonna be ripping these down. And this is all you need. I don't need to go back. I don't. It's all you need for the building. But it ain't gonna hurt nothing to take a look. This is that pocket hole jig we're gonna be using today. It's 20 bucks. Comes with everything you need. The drill bit, stock collar, and the impact piece. Then we're gonna pick up a box of these 2.5 inch Craig pocket hole screws. Oh, hey little buddy. One day, I'll be back. Oh, like butter. Hello. What's your name? You can never have enough clamps. That ain't going nowhere. Now, I'm gonna have to use 2x6s for this one because my lows did not have any good 2x3s. So I'm just gonna rip down some 2x6s to 2.5 inches. But if you can find good 2x3s, they work perfect. All right, we're back in the shop. Now we're gonna get our cutlass together and get to work. All right, first we're gonna cut our legs. So we want the total height of our table to be 29 inches. So we're gonna take off the thickness of the top, which is 3/4. So our legs are gonna be 28 1/4. Take your square, line it up, show you a mark on there. Now if you got 2x3s, you gotta do that 4 times. I gotta do it twice, and I'm gonna split these 2x6s down. All right, now we're gonna lay out for our long runners. That's gonna be on the front and back of the table. So we want our total length of the table to be 48 inches. But I want the top to overhang 1 inch on each side. So we're gonna take away 2 inches. This brings us to 46 inches. Then you gotta account for the legs. They're gonna be 2.5 inches wide. And you got 2 legs on, one on each side, so we're gonna take off 5 inches. That brings us to 41 inches. That's what we're gonna cut these runners at. All right, now we're gonna cut the short runners. The total width of our table is gonna be 12 inches. You want 1 inch hanging over on each side. So we're gonna come down to 10 and take out the thickness of your legs, which is 1.5 inches. So you need a total of 3 inches, which brings it down to 7. You're gonna need 4 of them. All right, if you got all those cuts done, if you had the 2x3s, you should have 4 41-inch runners, 4 7-inch runners, and your 4 29-inch legs. I had these 2x6s because I couldn't get 2x3s, so I'm gonna rip them down with a table saw real quick, and then we'll jump back into it. All right, now I got that done. If you had your 2x3s, you wouldn't have to worry about all that. So, we got our 7-inch, 28 1/4, 41. 28 1/4 are our legs. We don't have to do nothing else with them for right now until we start assembling. So we're gonna sit them off to the side. Now we're gonna do some pocket holes in these. Now this is that pocket hole jig we're using. Pretty simple. And you have settings here. You hold it the right way. I don't know if it's gonna come through on the camera or not. You get a 1.5 inch setting. You slide up, and it clicks 3/4 inch setting, a 1/2 inch setting. We're gonna use 1.5 inch setting. Now with the drill bit, of course you put it in your drill. Your Hyper Tough from Walmart. They cost you like $13. And you set the stop collar to the different settings you got. You have a setting for 1/2 inch, a setting for 3/4, and a setting for 1.5 inch. All you do is slide this stop collar till it lines up on those marks and tighten the Allen head part down. Now we're going to take our pieces and figure out which side we want facing out. So which side's the prettiest looking side, or is there a side with knots, cracks, or anything like that? We want those bad looking sides facing in. So this is going to be my inside face, facing in, so you can't see it once it's all put together. And here's your jig. Here's our work piece. All it does is sit down on the side you want to drill the holes on, and it slides back till that lip catches. And then you're just going to take your clamp, clamp it down, and drill your hole. Now me personally, I like to put 2 pocket holes on each side. It's a little more work, a little more screws, but it just holds up, in my opinion, a lot better. Your pieces won't sit there and twist or anything like that while you're trying to move the frame and stuff around. There you go. There's 2 pocket holes, and I'm gonna flip around and do 2 more on this side, and do it on all our inside pieces, and then do it on the longer runners. All right, now we got all that done, we're gonna head over to our assembly area. And welcome to the assembly area. You might wonder why I'm sitting on the floor. Well, when you're trying to put stuff together, you want a spot that's as flat as possible. Now, us being new woodworkers, we don't have nice workbenches that are flat. You know, I don't have nice jigs to put stuff together. And 90% of my floor in my shop is not flat. So what I did is I took a 4-foot level, just went all around my floor and tried to find the flattest spot I could. So this is where we're building it. All right, well, it's time to start putting this thing together. So what we're gonna start with, we're gonna grab one of our legs, 28¼ inches long. You're gonna figure out what side that you want facing out, the prettier side. Me, I'm gonna go with this side facing out. Sit it down on the floor. Grab one of our short pieces, 7 inches. Line it up like that at the very top. Flush it up on the top here. Grab another one of your legs. Do the same thing. Figure out what side you want facing out. I think I'm gonna go with that side. You just line them both up like this. Now, if you're a real fancy woodworker, you got a clamp. If you ain't got a clamp, you ain't a woodworker. Just kidding. These are Walmart specials too. So I think they're $3 for one. And they work just good for what you need. You're just gonna take here and squeeze this tight. Make sure everything stays flush. Grab you some screws, 2.5 inch pocket hole screws, and your Walmart drill with the impact that came with your pocket hole jig. And run them in there. All right, now you got 2 of them done just like that. What we're gonna do is now flip it around. Grab your other 7-inch piece. It's gonna be for the bottom shelf. Now, I take my tape measure and a pencil. I usually set mine up to, I can't even quite remember, 4 inches. So measure from the bottom of the leg, measure up 4 inches on both sides. Then you're going to take your piece and put the top of that piece to those marks. Once you get it all lined up, you just take your clamp, make sure everything's lined up, clamp it tight. Then you're going to run some screws in it. Alright, now we got our bottom one screwed on this one. We're just going to copy that exactly over to the other way. Alright, now we've got our 2 ends built. Now we're going to attach our long runners. It's pretty the same concept. You lay it down on the ground. I start at the top. Just lay it down like that. And you probably won't have clamps long enough to clamp this whole thing together, so that's why I'm doing one corner at a time. You just line everything up, try to hold it tight. Run her in. We're just going to repeat that process on the other side. We'll measure up the 4 inches on our bottom so we can line up the longer runners with the short ones. All right, we got all that done. Now it's time to start sanding. If you're wondering what sandpaper we're using, this is what we got. This is 60 grit down here. This is all steel, Walmart specials. All right, now we're about to start sanding. We got our Hyper Tough sander. I can't say enough good things about these. For the price of them, they're like 20 bucks for an orbital sander. I've had one, my last one lasted me a little over 2 years. And when I say I worked that thing, I worked it. Is it the best thing out there? No. But for 20 bucks, I don't think you can really beat it. And we're gonna start off with 80 grit just to get all the rough edges down and kind of smooth things out a little bit, and then we'll move up to 120. I recommend wearing a mask and maybe some safety glasses to keep stuff out of your eyes and keep from breathing in the dust. All right, now that we get this all sanded down, now we're gonna work on our top shelf and our bottom shelf. All right, here's the two pieces we picked up. They measure 48 inches long, 12 inches wide, and 3/4 inches thick. Now I'm just gonna open them up to look. Here's our boards all opened up. Now, we're just gonna pick one that we think looks the best for our top. Because that one we don't have to do any kind of cutting. So you just look it all over. And see, this one's got a chip right there. Another one right here. Let's check it. Other side. This will more than likely be our back one. Let's look at this one. Side don't look bad. Right. See, I think this is going to be our top board. So we're just going to sit this off to the side for now. And we're going to make this one fit the bottom shelf. All right, and this is how we mark this out. I just take it and sit it on the board like this, and you line up your corners to the edges. And it's gonna be bigger like this because we cut the frame shorter. So all you do is take your pencil and mark right here. Get up underneath here. I'm gonna do that on all four corners. And then on this back side, I'll mark the outside of this leg. You're pretty much just tracing out the legs. And that's gonna give you all the lines that you need to cut. So we are gonna have to rip this side down, because as you can see, it's 2 inches wider than our frame. And we want this bottom shelf to sit flush on both sides here and lengthwise. Now, what you'll need to do is get you a straight edge. You can see where we mark out our legs. You use a straight edge to go from this line all the way to the opposite end down here. That's gonna make our line all the way down, which is what we'll rip. I'll be using a 4-foot level, but let me show you something else you can do. All right. Take the frame you just built, on the long side of it, and use it for a straight edge. Just try to line your marks up like that. And like that. Make sure you're still good everywhere. Okay, now just take your pencil. You just made your own straight edge. And you can do the same thing on this end. Line everything up. Just like that. All right, now we're gonna take our scale saw and rip this side off, and rip the top off. All right, now we're gonna take our jigsaw and cut out our marks where our legs were. Here you go. Cut and in place. Now we'll pop it back out and sand it along with the top. All right, now we got our tabletop here, our bottom shelf that we just got done cutting. Now we're just gonna turn around and sand them. We're gonna start 80 grit, just knock the rough edges over. I like to round the edges over, that way there's no sharp points for someone to run into. So we're gonna go 80 and 120, just like we did the frame. All right, so with everything standing down, we just pre-assembled to make sure everything still fits right and it's all looking good. This is what you should have. This is our table. Now we're just about to start all the fun stuff. We're gonna start painting and staining. All right, so before we get started doing anything, we're gonna take a rag and just wipe everything down, get all the dust off it on the tops and on the frame itself. All right, so before we get staining, I'm using Minwax pre-stain conditioner. It just conditions the wood the way it doesn't splotch as bad. It really makes a difference in my opinion. All right, now that's done. We're gonna let that sit for like 5, maybe 10 minutes, and we're gonna wipe off all the excess with a clean rag. I use cut up t-shirts, but feel free to use whatever you like. Now that that's wiped off, I'll take some 220 on a block, and I'll just lightly hand sand everything. All right, now that you've sanded everything, just take a clean rag again, wipe it down. All right, now that that's done, we're gonna get on to the best part in my opinion, which is staining. I'm using a Minwax Espresso stain, but feel free to use whatever you like. This is just what I picked for this one. All right, this is the same concept. I'm using cut up t-shirts. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip these over, stain the bottom, let it sit for a couple minutes, wipe off all the excess, flip it back over to the top, and stain it, let it sit for a couple minutes, and wipe it off. This is the top coat we'll be using. It's a Minwax Polyacrylic Clear Gloss. All right, now we're gonna start painting our frame. Got it up on our table, flipped it upside down. Let's get to it. We're gonna be using this antique white paint that we got from Walmart. All right, here's our boards all dried up. Now we're gonna slap this thing together. There we go. Slide this in here. Try not to mess with our frame but so much. But you might have to do a little touch-up paint. There she is. There's that one. Now let's get the top on. And to attach the top, we're gonna be using these little L brackets. So now we got those on. So I'm gonna throw our top on there. All right, now we got our top on. I'm just going to center it up. Here's your tape measure. Should have about an inch each side. Go around, check your measurements. Make sure you're good. We are. Now we're just going to throw some screws in it. That's it, we got it done. We built a 4-foot entryway table with the basic tools. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing. I hope to see y'all on the next one.